one's friend.
So there you go. That is that first bit animated inside its comp. Now for the second part, comp 2, double click on comp 2 to jump inside. Select the word I'm, and it's very much exactly the same thing. We're going to set a keyframe for the scale on the word I'm because we want it to come in from the bottom left to the top. I'll move back 3 frames, set another keyframe, and 0 off the coordinates. So each of these words fades in as it's said, as spoken I should say. Okay, scale, jump back 3 frames, move the CTI, add another keyframe, and 0 out the values. So I'm Owens. Next we've got friend. Just a handy tip for you, if you want to show only the keyframes for the layer that you have made modifications to, you just hit the U key on the keyboard and it will show you only those keyframes. Otherwise you end up with this massive stack full of different options open that you're not actually using. Okay, so scale again, 1, 2, 3. We're only animating the scale, that's why I'm only selecting the scale, and 0 out that coordinate again. So 3 of these, just I'm Owen's friend, he says. Okay, so back to the final comp, and I might actually cut the first part of this audio off because that dramatic sound is kind of freaky. Okay.
Who the hell are you? I'm Owen's friend. Owen doesn't have...
Okay, so, and then she says, Owen doesn't have a friend, blah blah blah. So that gives you an idea of how to set keyframes for scale in these comps, and how to nest the comps inside the main comp, how to get your music track in. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to set up a null and a camera. So with our final comp selected, we'll go up to layer, camera. So we set, actually before we do that, we're going to set our layers on 3D layers. We're going to set blur on, and we're going to go new camera, leave it at 35mm, and then we're going to go layer, new null object, and we're going to parent the camera to the null with our pick whip. That's this little curly looking thing under the word parent. So we open up our null. We're going to be animating the null instead of the camera, and the null is controlled by this little handle here. So wherever we move this little null, our text or our camera will be moved, not the text, but it will appear to move the text because the view of the camera is changing. So under the null, we'll go back right to the beginning here, and we can do things like we'll make it a 3D layer, so we can go into the Y rotation, which I think is pretty cool, and you can adjust the perspective on your text. I actually really dislike this that way on its own. So I've moved, let's see how it's moved it a little farther to the right. So I'm going to put a position keyframe in, and if I move my null to the right, I'll be moving my text slightly to the left, or it'll appear to. So that's kind of a bit more in the center. So that's just setting up one position value and one Y rotation value on keyframes directly above each other. Let's see if I need any more space at the bottom. I think I do. Okay, go back to that spot. I just want to move my Y position up a bit higher. Okay, so now that's kind of in the middle, but it's the word U is still coming towards you nicely. So once that's been said, I'm going to put another set of keyframes in here to lock off that last position, and then when it comes to I'm Owen's friend, I'm going to change the Y rotation value back to 0 so that it's straight on again. And I have to also change the position value, if you've noticed, because it's moved the text to the left slightly. So, and I'm also going to move it down a little so it's more in the center. So that gives you an idea of how to use the nulls. I'm Owen's a friend. And if you want to spin the text around, it's really the same deal, like using this Y rotation value. In my other example, I've got the word stupid vertical, and then I spin it right around to a horizontal position, and that's just using the Y rotation and the null. So if I wanted to spin the word friend around, I would put final keyframe positions just before it, and then as the word just before the word comes up, I'll put another Y rotation in there and put 90 degrees in. And oh, okay, not there. Z rotation, my apologies. Z rotation 90 degrees. I'm Owen's friend. But I don't want it to start until the word friend comes onto the screen, so 90. So what I should have done is set a Z keyframe to lock off that position, and then just as the word friend is appearing on the screen, then make it 90. So we've got this nice sharp transition. Okay. And we can also move the word friend into the middle of the screen. I'm Owen's friend. So that doesn't actually suit this particular animation, this particular phrase and the way that it's toned. But for anything else that you thought was worth emphasizing and spun around, like I thought the word stupid made perfect sense, because, you know, it just didn't make sense for her to say that he was stupid. Maybe the word fat could have been rotated too, but I made that bounce out instead. And yeah, and then you sort of rotate and spin it, and if it's got this blur applied to it when it spins and it's been rendered out, it has a really lovely effect to it. So that's all I have to show you, and I think I've given you enough techniques there to be able to apply this on your own. I'll just show you the final look.
Who the hell are you? I'm Owen's friend. Owen doesn't have it.
So there you go. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you learned something. Bye.